Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Gaming After Dark. I am your host, Noof Nukem. Boom, boom, kaboom. Noof is in the room. Unfortunately, looks like my co-host cannot be with me at the moment, which is the amazing Primal Eve. She is stuck on the highway, apparently, with a flat tire. And as we know, Primal, that's about the only time in her life she'll ever be flat. So I do apologize for the wait, guys. I was hoping that she could get here, but she sent me a message and is not looking very promising. I'm sure by the time we get through most of these topics, it'll be pretty late. But we may have a special guest coming right from the chat, and that is Mr. Axel1324. He has volunteered to join me on the podcast. As a matter of fact, I hear the little bloop in the background, which means it looks like the man is ready to go live. So I'm going to add him to the stream. We've got to welcome him here. I haven't had a chance to podcast gentleman before, but I have had a chance to play some Gears with him, and he's a hell of a Gears player. So happy to have him. Welcome to the show. Axel, you are live on Gaming After Dark. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me so short notice.
Hey, brother, I'm glad you sent out the bat signal, right?
That's right. I don't know how to make my webcam stop doing it yet, so... Oh, there it is. Okay, there we go. Much better.
It's all good, brother. Appreciate you being here. I see you are lean, mean, and green. You got some cool looking green headphones on, so that's fantastic. So, to everybody, guys, that's here, that's in the chat, want to welcome Axel to the program. Who knows? Maybe he could end up becoming a regular on this. Have you ever done a podcast before, though, Axel? Or not sure?
I've done a couple of test streams with a few people, but I've never actually gone live. So this is my first live podcast, and I am excited.
Well, you should be excited. I remember my first time on the podcast circuit as well. I was nervous. I was excited. And, well, I guess you could say the rest is history. And it goes way back to, a couple, must be like 4 or 5 years almost now. And that was with the one, the only Mooch, 1978. He had me on Crossroads where Nukem's small beginnings started. So boom, boom, kaboom. Let's give a shout out to everybody in the room right now. We have got an explosive cast already trickling in. And we got to start with my good buddy, an Alberta boy himself, Mr. Spider-Man 356 is swinging on in. Timothy Dixon is right behind him. He follows up in the chat. What's going on, guys? Back from the dead is hanging out with us as well. We've got obviously you, Axel, who sent out that bad signal. Glad you're here. We have got as well Moggs E jumping in here. Moggs, what's going on, brother? Haven't seen you in a while. Got Jay Slayer J. We got Jason Ellis. HR Bomber is here, and he didn't bring his sister. I'm so disappointed. The blue one is here. Sathius, man, we got a good crew, and we are just getting ready. If you didn't catch it already, guys, Primal Eve. She's had a flat on the highway, so she's kind of stuck. It's really sucks. Terrible timing, but it is what it is, man. If it's not one thing, it's another with that poor girl. So let's send her love, good wishes, and hopefully she can get that fixed up here real soon. Tonight had some bad info. Okay, hopefully nothing. Well, bad is always bad, but. I don't know what it is, but I'm just going to say my best wishes go out to you, whatever it might be. The Krill, though. Dreadpool is in the house. What's happening, Dread? Good to see you here, brother. So, Axel, what have you been up to? What games have you been playing, man?
Recently, I've been playing Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I've been trying to get through it. Trying to compare it to the first one and the second one. Mm-hmm. And... You know, I was just talking about this to a coworker today. The third one is just so much more grandiose in every which way. Mm-hmm. But I think it kind of worked against it because, you know, you have the main city of Paititi.
Paititi,
yeah, Paititi in the third one. And it's a massive city with no purpose other than to hide a few collectibles, get a merchant, and have like somewhere to come back to every now and again. Whereas I feel like it just kind of messes up the flow of the game.
Right.
Whereas the second one, you were always moving in that abandoned new Russian station. Mm-hmm. And it just felt like the game was more fluid. So the third one, while it's great and grandiose and the visuals are top notch and the Dolby Atmos is amazing,
yes,
I just feel like it lost something.
I agree. I mean, it's still one of my favorite games of the gen. Rise happens to be my favorite game, period. I don't think this one was too far off. I'll agree with you there. I found, like I said, the pacing was a bit off because of, again, the setting and the way you sort of the backtracking you did in this game. And again, it wasn't as action-oriented as its predecessors, but it did have better tombs. I will give it that. It had some really great tombs. The graphics were amazing. Like, the graphics didn't take a downgrade. They actually were probably even better than the first two games. I mean, they did a hell of a good job. I'd love to see what I think it's Eidos Montreal, if I'm correct, that did that one.
Yeah. I think it definitely wasn't the Crystal Dynamics, the main team. It was definitely the other studio, but it's still a great game. When you have three amazing games, well, which one of the three most amazing ones is the least amazing? Well,
right.
It really doesn't matter because they're all still amazing.
A great way to sum it up, man. So you guys in the chat, if you've never played any of these Tomb Raider games, that's Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, Rise of the Tomb Raider, or Shadow, do yourself a favor and go check them out because they really deserve to be played. They're fantastic. Yes, Spider-Man always rubs it in that I don't like puzzles, although I could tolerate the ones in Tomb Raider. They weren't too jarring. Some of them just took some hours of observation. But great games indeed. As for myself, guys, I've got some kind of big news, I kind of semi-dropped, I suppose, on Twitter. I took a little bit of heat from it. I got some praise from it, a little bit of everything in between. So I'm just going to get this out of the way right now, and I'll take my knocks one way or the other. As people know, there's a running joke in the community with Noof Nukem that I'm an expert in Newfonomics. And if you're not sure what that means, well, Mooch coined the phrase after he found out that I would buy a console and I'd have it for so long, buy a collection of games, and then trade it to get another console, so on and so forth. Sometimes, I would get rid of one, then get another one, and then basically trade that one and get the one that I just previously got rid of. It makes absolutely no sense, as do I, but it is what it is. The good thing about that is usually I always have enough in trade values that I can basically go get the other system and not have to worry, about plunking down a lot of cash. So I wasn't on anything cash-wise, so that's good. Let's give a shout-out to the chat. Our Rob is in the house. Middle-aged game guy is here. I know him as Dead Meat on Xbox, and he drops as $5 in the super chat, and he says, sorry, I missed you the other night on Xbox Noof. Have a great show, boys. We will have a great show. Like I said, I got a great guest here. It was unplanned, but he's going to hold his own. I can tell he's doing great right off the get-go, and we got a fantastic chat. Again, thanks for that super chat, guys. I found out a really weird thing when it comes to these super chats, and I did not know, but apparently you can't get your super chats redeemed until apparently you hit at least the $100 threshold with YouTube. They won't send you out your money. So let's just say I haven't got there yet.
Let's get them $100.
So everybody has been donating money to me is basically just like sitting in an account. I can't claim it because I haven't even hit the $100 mark. It's all good, guys. It's all good. I don't do this for the super chats. It's just a bonus. Viking Norm is in the chat, and Wild Bates is here as well. Boom, boom, kaboom, indeed. But anyway, my news, guys, is this. You might know about 2 months ago, I sold my Nintendo Switch largely because I really wasn't playing it and just felt no need to have it. Well, the other day I decided, I'm going to get rid of my PlayStation. And that's exactly what I did. I got rid of my PS4, my PSVR, and all my games, and I traded it back in and got another Switch. I know it makes absolutely no sense. But my reasoning behind it is this. I really want to focus in on one console for the next gen. Nintendo is a great secondary console. I've always said that. And because there's so much difference between having a Switch and an Xbox or a Switch and a PS4, it kind of makes more sense to have either a PS4 and a Switch or an Xbox Switch, or have them all if you choose. But I choose to kind of go with one. I'm going to stick with Xbox simply because I know what I'm getting with those guys. I'm very excited for the future. I think they got some great studios, and they will bring some fantastic games. It's just a matter of time. We waited this long. We can wait a bit longer, but I think pretty soon we're going to see some massively amazing games coming from their studios. And So I'm largely going to go with Xbox. Doesn't mean I hate PlayStation or I'm going to start turning into some kind of asshole that just shits on PlayStation. I'll give credit where credit is due. They're amazing. Yeah. They've had an amazing lineup of games this generation. I've been very fortunate and pleased to have played them. But then there's also the matter of buying PlayStation Plus, that sort of stuff. So that's 2 subscriptions every year. So not to drag this on, but anyway, it is gone. Because I am, again, the master of Newfonomics, let's not rule out that I'll never have one again. because anybody who knows me knows that things can change on a dime, but it is what it is. Saltiest Gaming is in the house. What is up, Mr. Salt, man? I hope you were doing well, saving some money. Well, I didn't really save a lot of money because I got just under $700 in credit, which wasn't technically too bad. But so yeah,
those Canadian dollars?
That's Canadian bucks. That's for my PS4 Pro though, PSVR, and like a shit ton of games. So I mean, if you weigh it out, I probably got about 25% of the total money that I actually paid out for this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, only that's usually the trade-in value, about 20%.
Only two or three of those games that I traded got me any type of like trade value at all, which was crazy. So yeah, Rectangle, what's happening, man? Thanks for being here. Great to be on the show, or great to be in the chat. Thanks for stopping in again, guys. Primal having a flat tire. She may not make the show at all tonight. Get that Ghost. That's right. Yeah, I'll get the Ghost of Tsushima custom PS4. You just never know. I got a house coming up too, man. So it was also not just a decision like. It was like a cluttering kind of thing too. Just trying to get rid of a little less clutter. PSVR is cool, but I mean all the wires and stuff and the hookups and everything else. I'm probably going to get the Oculus Quest at some point because that thing looks really cool and it doesn't require a PC or gaming console to run. So I might give that a go. But
you got a Switch again. So which games did you get for your Switch again? Did you get completely new ones?
No, I picked up two are new. One is one I had before. I picked up Mario Odyssey because I just love that game, and it is Mario Day, which is going to be one of the topics on the show. I picked up Super Mario Party. That game was on sale, and I picked up some racing game. It's called Moto Racer 4 or something like that, which is okay. It's kind of like a arcadey kind of racer. So yeah. So I could have waited to trade in. That is true, Dreadpool. But you know what, man? Look, I'll get the Xbox Series X in due time because honestly, I'm not even convinced I'm going to buy the Series X on launch this year. I might wait for a while. I want to see more proof. I want to see these systems in action. I want to wait and see before I drop down a lot of money on. If the Xbox One X can still run games admirably, I think that will tide me over until I'm ready to take the financial plunge. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, and there's also no point in upgrading right away, especially because Xbox straight came out and said they're going to support the current generation for 1 or 2 years.
Exactly. So I am going to miss out on some amazing games like Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us 2, but at the end of the day, as good as those games are, I'm still an Xbox guy. I'm a Gears diehard. That's always my number one franchise, and that's not going to change. Halo is coming out this year, Halo Infinite. I have super high hopes for that game, that it's going to turn things around, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, I don't want to beat this story to death, guys. It's done. It's over with, blah, blah, blah. So we'll start getting into some topics here and all that sort of stuff. One that's been floating around, and again, it's rumored, but it wouldn't completely surprise us at this point, guys, that E3 gets canceled. We've already seen a few major shows get canceled in the last couple of weeks here. There is a big rumor floating around that pretty soon they've got to pull the trigger on this, and E3 could bite the bullet. Now, some people said it didn't matter much anyway because Sony wasn't going to be there, and the show is a shell of its former self. Axel, what do you think, man, if this actually gets canceled? I know people that were planning to go to it are obviously extremely disappointed, and I can understand why. What do you think the ramifications are if this actually happens? What does it mean for the industry? Does it also really put it behind the eight ball and make next year more relevant? Because like I said, we're on the cusp too of new console launches. So this would be a really big bummer.
As a guy that just started watching E3 about 3 years ago, I really enjoy the show. I love all the, how all the publishers, the major players in the game have events around that time. And I like seeing everybody's live reports, the people that go there. And I definitely love seeing the reaction videos. But all that being said, true story here. When I went to Asia not too long before the coronavirus kind of exploded. And I came back with a cough. And I was scared for my life, And I went to the hospital and I got checked out. And obviously it was just a cold, which was great. Got cleared. And, this thing it's serious if you get it. And doing the responsible thing as a gaming community, to limit the size of crowds right now is the smartest thing we can do. But as far as E3, E3 is already losing a lot of staples. They lost Sony, they lost Jeff Keighley recently. Xbox has a booth in E3, but they do their own show across the street. Nintendo's the only Nintendo does their Nintendo Direct around E3, but once again, they have booths inside. E3, I think, maybe should relish the moment. I think they could really capture this and take this year off to just restructure it to be more of a fan-based event, and that way, when this whole thing blows over, they can come back, swinging at the fences for the fans. And because really, that's what E3 needs to transition to. For the fans, maybe a place for the fans to meet their favorite publishers, their favorite developers. That's something, that's the big draw of Comic-Con. San Diego, is that all the big players are there for fans to meet. And E3 kind of has it's not for the fans, and it's not exactly for the retailers anymore. So what exactly is it?
Right.
So I really think they need to redo it.
It certainly has changed a lot over the years, and I think that's a problem with it because of so many changes. Its identity is a little bit shaken. But I mean, like I said, I know, at least from speaking from a Microsoft perspective, you see like Mr. Boomstick and company sharing all of the fantastic photos, the Xbox Fan Fest and stuff like that. It's a great way for developers to meet their fans and hear a reaction to their product from the ground room floor. I call E3 the Christmas of gaming because it's really when the biggest and best shine brightest. The other shows, a lot of the time, they're follow-ups to E3. They're either, they show more footage or they go a little bit more in depth, but it's more of a trade show for the industry itself, where this is a little bit of both worlds. But again, this is like, this is a big show, and it will totally suck. I mean, I think you're right, though, Axel, that if it does per se get canceled, I mean, you do have to do what's right for the people. You don't want to get people sick and stuff like that. I mean, I totally understand where they're going. And when you're surrounded in places like that, especially, and I've heard from people that have been at E3 that the hygiene factor of E3 is not exactly the best all the time. So so it probably wouldn't be a bad idea just to keep it, keep things under wraps and just avoid that risk. You know what I mean? So I mean, like I said, if it's canceled, it's canceled, but it sucks. And I said it mostly sucks too this year because this is one of the most exciting years we've had in a while because the new systems are on the verge of release and coming out. And but we also heard that Microsoft has got a new show in the works, a new thing that they're going to unveil. And I've got the perfect man who just showed up to be a guest, an emergency guest on this panel, guys. The one, the only, the amazing, the man with the know-it-all, Mr. Dealer Gaming, handing out L's like I tell you, like hookers hand out herpes. So welcome one and all, guys, the amazing host of the RDX podcast, Dealer Game. Dealer, what's happening, brother? Can you weigh on, well, tell us how you doing, man, and can you weigh in on this whole E3 debacle?
Huh?
You're probably fairly tired too. You just did your own podcast, so
no, yeah. I mean, basically, yeah, that's what we were hearing, and then Schreier had tweeted about it, right? E3, I mean, they don't want to run the risk of this stuff spreading more, right? So it's kind of unfortunate, and the fear is that once it's canceled, developers and publishers will figure out that, hey, we were just fine last year when herpes canceled E3, and you know what? We don't need to spend those millions of dollars next year, or this year rather. Maybe it's 2021. Maybe they don't come back. What do you think about maybe this actually being the final? Like, there might not be another E3 now.
It could be done with the way the industry is kind of transcending right now with the digital age, social media, ways of streaming content like through Mixer and Twitch and so on and so forth. You're totally right. It literally could be the nail in the coffin because these publishers are finding ways to show off stuff now, and it's a way less investment. They can prepare without the pressure of stage fright and stuff happening at E3, or without the orchestra taking all the attention.
Millions of dollars being spent.
Exactly. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just kind of really sucks for the fans. But I mean, one way or the other, as long as we get our content, I guess that's really not a bad thing. It just, I mean, it is the industry. It's like the digital gaming age. It's the streaming age. like old Noof Nukem. At some point in time, you just got to chow on the bit. You just got to take it, man, without the lube or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just close your eyes and go for it.
Close your eyes. Let's give a shout out to the chat before we get back into the thing. HR Bomber, what's going on, brother? I know you're here. Cyber Gunter is in the house. We also got Casket Repair. So guys, thanks for being here. Make sure you share this.
Repair. Shout out to Casket
Repair. Yeah, well, I think that guy might have had herpes today. That fellow apparently showed the video of beating up his PlayStation because of Horizon Zero Dawn going to PC. Yeah, if that is to be believed, then that guy definitely has some major issues and should get checked in.
That was my most liked tweet ever. Was my reply to that guy? He crying, all caps. Like, oh my god, man! Like 1,000 likes almost on this stupid fucking reply. That guy must be, what are the odds on Noof that he actually lives in a goddamn warehouse? Like that kind of looked fake.
Yeah, he had crates in there.
It looks like a basement, to be honest. Like a big basement, the way he's got it set up, or it could be out in a garage. It definitely
like a weird old monitor. It's like, are you playing games in that bitch? Like, what are you doing? Right? I know it's kind of weird. He had a stream, kind of breaking down about MLB The Show coming to Xbox.
Well, either maybe he just ran out of money playing for PlayStation Plus and couldn't afford a decent monitor. So
I don't know. It seems like a weird fuck to me, but
yeah. So going off this E3 topic, E3 has been the big American showcase for video games. Gamescom is, I believe, European. Obviously, the Tokyo Game Show is in Tokyo. What do you think would replace it as the big American game show off? I don't think there's anything close in the U.S. that competes with E3.
Yeah,
YouTube. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you're probably right. It probably is YouTube at this point. I mean, everything is massive on that platform now. So, yeah, I don't know. There really isn't a show like per se that I can think of outside of the little small in-house stuff. So,
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Hey, doors open. Somebody can come in and swoop it up.
Yeah. So
steal your ex-girlfriend.
that is right. I mean, like I said, we still don't know for sure. So dealer's not confirmed, right? It's just kind of speculative, right?
Count on it. It'll probably be announced tomorrow.
Yeah, I can feel it coming. I mean, with the stuff that's already been canceled. Now, at the same time, do you think this is, in a sense, and I'll go to both of you, do you think in a way, because we know Microsoft was planning to be big at this show, that much we knew, and they'd be really big because some of the competition stepped aside. So you think in a way this could kind of be a blessing in disguise, so to speak, for someone like Sony who wasn't planning to show up anyway?
Not really. I mean, did it really hurt them that they missed it last year? Microsoft kind of blew their own toes off with a Magnum last year with Bambi Simulator, headbutting Xbox up out of a vending machine, right? So, I mean, I don't know if it really affects them all that much. People were saying E3 is irrelevant or dead, but then they're live streaming it, right? So that was the thing that we had always kind of countered with was it's not dead, it's not irrelevant. You're talking about it right now. You're streaming it live, right?
Exactly.
You're all watching it, see if Microsoft fucks up, which they did last year, and this year. Count on them doing some kind of live stream event or pre-recorded event even instead, I guess.
Well, you just go to the chat. How many of you guys in the chat normally get excited for E3, and were you excited for this year? Press 1 if you were excited or normally get excited for E3, and press 2 if you could care less. I would love to see what the chat thinks here right now, because I know I always get excited. As I said, to me personally, E3 is the Christmas of gaming. I mean, everybody that podcasts in this industry, come on. We all know how freaking excited we get the week of E3. People are doing extra podcasts. People are getting all these panel members to come on because we're speculating what we're going to see, what we won't see, what kind of changes are going to be made, who's going to come up big, who's not going to show up at all, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. See, and already, look at HR Bummer, Timothy Dixon, Drew Zillon, Back from the Dead, Viking Norm, Aaron, F94, Rico Dennis, Abel. They're all dropping ones in the chat, guys. I mean, the numbers don't lie here. People get excited for E3, and why not?
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
actually, you get excited?
E3, yeah, of course I get excited. Like I said, I just started watching it 3 years ago because, college, and before that I was in the military, not able to stream in the places I was. So I recently got into E3, and man, it's a spectacle. I'll tell you that much. For someone that's never seen them before, to have seen the last 3 years, it's a spectacle. And I purposely take the day off from work. I purposely make sure that nobody bothers me. I leave the whole day just for E3 and all the YouTube E3 shenanigans, if you will.
Yeah.
All the podcasts, like you said, all the reaction videos, all the after shows. I listen to all of that. E3 is an amazing time.
If you're a content creator like Dealer, I mean, E3 generally provides you with a good steady 2 weeks worth of decent content to talk about too, which is always nice, right, Dealer?
Yeah, the lead up to E3 is extremely busy, and for one, I mean, all that stuff's still going to be there. We want to kind of stress that you'll still be getting all the really cool information, and they'll find a way to get that stuff out there. The concern is that the event may suffer in the future, though. I feel like it will not disappear, because they'll find a way to lobby and get companies to come back, and that's the worst case scenario. But still, like, a lot of fans, like Tim, on our show was really upset, because this is like, people come together, friends that see each other once a year, a community. There's a lot of people that get to talk to certain executives. I was considering going out myself after talking to some of these guys that work at Xbox, and I was on the fence, but then, when AIDS is rolling around like this, it's like, okay, well, I'm not really sure I want to take that risk anyway, So you save a couple $1,000, and you possibly avoid something that could be something. But that's the thing, though, too. It's more safe not to have the event. Whether or not people want to say live your life or not, it's not about living your life. It's about stopping something that literally thrives through people saying fuck it. And that's what makes it so dangerous, is that it does spread, and it's not really detectable by the time it's spreading so far. It's safer for people not to come together like this, but it is unfortunate.
Thousands of people in a closed environment. And as I said to Axel, and just as you were entering the show, I said E3 is also notoriously known for a lot of people that have bad hygiene, that probably don't wash as much, or don't get a chance to wash, and certainly don't wash their hands. Heck, I can tell you, like, I bet you almost every time, sometimes I go to a men's washroom to take a piss. Yeah, I don't go to the ladies one. But I go to the washroom to take a piss. Like, how many dudes get up and leave the washroom and just piss and don't even wash their hands? It's fucking disgusting.
Wash your hands with piss.
It's actually surprising how unsanitary United States bathrooms are compared to bathrooms around the world. Like I said, I've traveled, and in Asia, man, they have like a bathroom clerk in every bathroom. Yeah. And those bathrooms are clean. It's incredible how much different the hygiene is in the U.S. compared to Asia, where in the U.S. hygiene is like a personal responsibility. It's up to you yourself, to go the extra mile to be clean.
You say they got a guy in every bathroom like 14 you to wash your damn hands? Like,
well, like in the restaurants, a lot of restaurants in Asia, they have toilets, or not toilets, sorry, they have wash stations right there, right when you walk in. So you can wash your hands as you walk into the restaurant to go sit down and eat. Mm-hmm. It's really different.
Yeah, I know it is. Different places that you go is definitely it's the culture. It's a lot of its onus is on the business and stuff like that. But again, I agree with Dealer. It's probably in fans' best interest, regardless of the fact that it sucks. And I definitely understand people have invested in going and spent a lot of money on tickets. We're getting excited. It definitely blows, definitely for them more than anybody. But it is what it is. Like I said, it's in the safety and best concerns of everybody. I'm sure. I think Jay Slayer Jay in the chat, he has a great question. Do you think that Microsoft will still do their own show if they're still in the theater? And that's a great question, because technically, I suppose they definitely could. We're already hearing about sports teams like MLB, NFL, NHL, so on and so forth, NBA, talking about basically playing games with no audience in the house, which is unbelievable. But that's to the point where we're at right now, and it could actually happen. So that is insane.
That is kind of weird to think about. You think they'll have a big ass Atmos sound system up there just with a crowd playing on it? Like, don't look over to your left or right. They're
going to feed in the applause automatically. You hit the applause button. Yay!
be like those old laugh tracks for the old TV shows.
Play an episode of Everybody Loves Raymond in the background.
That one little guy in the stadium. Yeah, go! We're gonna Cletus over there. He'll make enough noise for everybody.
Start sending in clips of your own laugh. See if you can hear yourself in the Microsoft show, guys.
Absolutely. Well, I think enough on the E3 talk. I'm sure we're definitely going to. Just heard back from Primal. She Yeah, she's not going to make the show here. Like I said, she's having some card troubles, couldn't make it back. And I'm sure she would have been super excited to know that Dealer's with us tonight. So it is kind of sucky, but yeah, it is what it is. I got some more topics. Like I said, I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus with topics. I know you guys generally keep up on this stuff anyway. I got a pretty good one here. Well, this is on the lighter heart of things. Maybe you can weigh in this, and maybe you can't. But I think it's safe to assume at some point in time in our lives, we've all played a Nintendo console and probably have some fond memories of Mario. Well, it is Mario Day, apparently, and Nintendo finally actually dropped some of their titles down by, I think, 30-something%. It was just still crazy how much Nintendo games sell for. But it is Mario Day, so I wanted to ask the panel, what is your favorite Mario game of all time, or perhaps your favorite memory of a Mario game? And I'll start with you though, Axel, since you're the first into the chat tonight.
Oh, thank you. My favorite Mario game by far is Super Mario Bros. 3 on the NES. This game was perfection in my idea. You know, like the platforming on it, the side-scrolling, the Tanuki suit, the fact that if you ran really fast towards the, off screen and you jumped, you got a star every time. The fast travel with the flutes. Or sorry, not the fast track, but the stage select with the flutes. Yeah. The little Koopas were introduced, and it was just such a big game compared to Mario Brothers 1 and fake Mario Brothers 2. And a lot of Mario Brothers 3 influenced Mario Brothers going forward. So to me, that's the daddy of them all, because in Super Mario World you had the flying cape, but it wasn't no Tanuki suit. You had to glide on that one, and you had the feather, the hat with the wings on it in other Marios. But to me, by far, Super Mario Brothers 3 wasted more of my childhood than any other game I had.
Well, I think you wouldn't be alone with that particular pick for sure. That was a great pick and a great way to analyze it and break it down. How about yourself, Dealer? Do you have any fond memories of the Italian plumber and his first foray into gaming? What was your favorite, perhaps?
I mean, we've all grown up with Mario, right? Little weird little fucker jumping down, pipes and getting coins and shit. I mean, to this day, when you hear the music from Mario, you're still like, God damn, like this is old as fuck. And it's like, this dude was on it. Like the guy who made this music smoked some crack and really went to town on this, the sound chip in this thing, because back then everyone was bragging about the sound, not really the graphics, right? Or the blood or whatever. They were always bragging about something. And Mario, just the music to this day still sticks out quite handedly. Classics. I wish that I could buy those on my Xbox, kind of like the Sonic games. So I've got them. I would definitely own them, but not really a fan of Mario much anymore. But in the youth, obviously we all played the shit out of Mario. I'd probably have to agree with Axel. Super Mario 3,
right,
where he's got the goddamn furry suit on. That is probably the one that sticks out the most. And I think that's when Mario jumped up a level and became what people kind of freeze framed in their head. So I would agree. The music, the art design, and of course, the suits in that game, like the one, what do you call it? Tanuki suit? That one. And
the raccoon suit.
Yeah, the rat suit. That stuff still sticks into my head. But again, there's a reason I don't really own a Switch.
Yeah.
Nintendo kind of, I think Z says it. I grew up with Nintendo and Mario, but they ain't grown up with me, right? So I'm over here looking forward to things like Doom and Cyberpunk and stuff. But if you're still into Mario and stuff, there's only one place you can get it. More power to you.
Yeah, well, I think the thing when we think of Mario too, like the NES obviously jumps out at you because obviously, the original game was such a classic, and it was really that first evolution and big step up from the older system, like the Atari 2600. When you first saw Mario and you saw those bigger sprites and how fun the game was and how tight it was. I mean, that's one of those games, one of the few 8-bit titles you can still go back to today. And as simple as it is, you can still have a blast with it. And people have it memorized because we played those games to death. Super Mario 3, on the other hand, I think became more of a phenomenon because by that time it was not only a bigger, better sequel, and it was done everything better than its predecessors, but the NES had also had a much bigger install base by the time it came out. Because I think if I'm correct, I think Mario 3 was it 88 or 89 when that game came out?
I have no
clue. I want to say 89.
'89, it was a little bit closer to the end of the NES life cycle kind of thing. Because I know, well, it had to be, yeah, it must have been '89 because I think Super Mario World itself was '91. So, that was a huge game. And it also got featured in that movie, The Wizard. People may have good or bad memories of that movie. So it was featured there. For me, I wasn't really an NES guy. I was more of a Sega guy. So I kind of bypassed largely a lot of the games from the NES era. And I was on, like I said, the Master System. But I did buy the Super Nintendo. So my initial, like, Mario would have to be Super Mario World, the pack-in game with the Super Nintendo, which was phenomenal. And again, it was a game that, took everything that was done well with Super Mario 3 and elevated it to the next level. Your introduction of Yoshi, the yellow cape, so on. So very colorful graphics.
Maybe that's
by then,
what I'm thinking
good. Maybe. The little ghost worlds and stuff where they hide and then turn around, they come after you. Like, there were so many ingenious things in that game. Again, that's another one that stands the test of time. But my personal memory, my best one was N64, Mario 64, because that game, like, when you saw those 3D graphics for the first time, the actual polygon graphics and how well that game actually played and looked for its days, still blows my mind. Like, you can pick it up and still have a good time with that game. And it's old as shit. And it was one of the first, like, again, fully fledged sort of 3D title, so to speak. The one before that really stood up was Tomb Raider. But this, because of the control stick on the N64, that level of handling the control where you could basically make him run without actually having to press a button to make him run. You just held the stick, and the harder you move it, or, the faster he went, right? So let's give a shout out to the chat. Shinsia is here. Obi-Wan FTW is in the house. What's going on? Jason Ellis. Who did we miss while we were chatting away? Sathius is in the house. Fastback is here with us as well. Drew Zilm. Guys, welcome to the program. Glad you could be here. Like I said, we got two phenomenal guests. Both came in at short notice, so I can't thank them enough. Axel 1324, and of course, you all know the man. Dealer Gaming is here. So great to be here. Blue One is in the chat. Super Mario 3 for him. Jason says Mazda Kart's 4-player. A lot of guys Mario 3. So I'm not going to beat this one to death. I think the best game right now, like Mario Odyssey, is honestly, like, that's just almost a masterpiece. If you have a Switch, love him or hate him, if you like action platformers, you need to play Mario Odyssey, because the game is just amazing from a graphic standpoint, from a play control, from the massive amount of diversity in that game, from the opening level to the moment you wrap it up. There's just a ton of replayability. It's super fun. It plays amazingly well. I would have to say that they took all the things that really worked well with Mario, the Galaxy games that were on the Wii, but amplified it big time. So it's great. If you're not into Mario anymore, that's totally understandable. Like I said, nothing's going to convince you anymore. But I mean, kudos to Mario. And the crazy thing is I'll ask you guys, like, are you actually impressed with the longevity of this character? Because no matter what generation you're in, whether you've kind of loved him or sort of started to fall in love, it always seems like he's appealing to somebody new. And Mario is a large reason as well that the Nintendo Switch is doing so well.
I mean, I know my buddy Obi in the chat there. He's a little shit talker, and he brings up Mario and how it is milked, but people complain about things like gears and all this other stuff. And he's got a point, but something that I often come back with is that they do. Yes, there's 5,000 fucking Marios, but if you looked at one and then looked at the next, at least in the last couple of generations, you're like, whoa, okay, so it's the same damn guy. The guy, he still fucks pumpkins. He's still a weird fuck, but he's doing something different this time. This time he's got a squirt gun thing on his back. Next time he's throwing a damn hat and takes people over, right? Yeah. Like, there's different mechanics. The other one, he's running around on the planets, right? So it's the same character, but they've found something else for him to do, and it's always highly polished, highly tuned, and that little niche, like throwing the hat, right? I don't remember which one that was, but that it's always something that they've nailed down, some kind of mechanic, a different play on it, and it doesn't feel so run into the ground and diluted,
Would you say that, like if you look at the Sonic games, and you summed this up well, Dealer, because you said his games feel polished, and that's the one thing that separates Sonic to me. Like, I like Sonic as a character better, while his games have traditionally, that's the thing. And I don't know if you guys will agree with it, but I notice a lot of the games that I play with Sonic, it's like the first level or so start out really well. And then all of a sudden they try to invent new things, and they make the levels very convoluted and confusing. and they make the game just seems like they deteriorate. It's almost like there's too many parts trying to go on with Sonic games, and nobody knows how to do anything extremely well. Do you know what I mean?
Seems like they're Mario always chasing. They're always chasing something, some little thing that they didn't really think about themselves and say, you know what, we're gonna invent some kind of new mechanic or some kind of new play with Sonic. Instead they kind of might look at some other games and see what's going on there.
I think it's a design philosophy. I believe the creator of Mario said that
Shigeru Miyamoto.
Yes, Mr. Miyamoto. I believe I read it somewhere that he said that when he makes a new console, first he thinks about the kind of game they want to make, and then they design the console around that game. And I think that's how you always get these great new experiences with every generation on Mario. Right. They thought about the game and then designed the console around it, at least to begin with. Whereas Sonic, especially Sonic now that, Sega's out of the hardware game, sure, they kind of are trying to make the game for the console and not the other way around. And Sonic, I grew up as a Sega fan as well. And I think the big Sonic games that stand out, are obviously the first three, and Sonic Adventure, and then Sonic, what's the new one that came out? Mania? I mean, but that's a big gap, whereas Mario has been consistently great. And I think that's what the big attraction to Mario is that you're going to get a great game, and you can easily give it to your kids and know that they're going to have a great experience, just like you did. A little different.
How often do those come out, Axel? Like, however many years does Mario hit to?
A new Mario usually hits about every 4 or 5 years, like a mainstream Mario.
And that's a big part of it. That's a big part of it. Time. Yeah. It takes time to foster those ideas. It's kind of like making a thumbnail. Sometimes how you want to lay the thing out is really what takes the longest. And that's them coming up with the gameplay concepts and stuff and then refining it. And that's not quite as much time.
It's a great point, because in the original NES era, you had Mario Brothers, you had Mario 2, you had Mario the new levels, which was actually official Mario 2, but you had that other Mario 2, and then you had Mario 3. So essentially like 4 games from the NES era. Then if you look at Super Nintendo, there was actually 1. There was only Mario World. That was it. They never made another game, which is astonishing when you think about it, considering that Sonic had 3 main Sonic games, not to mention Sonic Blast. So Sonic definitely took off. Sonic's kind of the one that, in a sense, came oversaturated. And then if you get to the N64, there was never a sequel to Mario 64, so they had 1 official game there. And then on the Wii, they had 2, which was Mario Galaxy and Galaxy 2. So you can't really say per console that they've overkilled it. It's kind of killed because that they always have a Mario game with every console, like they have a Zelda. But then they have all these spin-off games. Like Mario shows up in Party, and he shows up in the Olympics games, and he shows up, like I said, there was this Raving Rabbits one last year or whatever, right? So definitely, right? So that's the thing. Like, if Sega wants to get Sonic back on track, they need to focus more in on one game and make it work first before they get sequel happy. But I don't want to beat this one to death, guys. It's just a fun little topic, since it is Mario Day and Nintendo finally dropped a couple of games by a few bucks. Like, holy hell, that doesn't happen, right? Let's get into the next one. Let's talk about the big DLC that dropped today. It is free for anybody if you don't even have the full game, and that is Call of Duty Warzone. That's right, you heard it right. Even if you don't have Modern Warfare, you can go in and download Call of Duty Warzone absolutely free. Mind you, you cannot play it for free if you happen to be on Xbox. You still need to have a gold membership. Whereas if you're on the PlayStation Plus, even if you don't have PlayStation Plus, you can play it free of charge on a standard PlayStation membership. Again, that's another topic for another day. I know Dealer and Company kind of got into that a little bit RDX earlier tonight, but I won't go through that one. I just want to
get rid of that paywall, Noof.
Yeah, well, what they do, don't they, Dealer? Don't you feel like that? Like, that's kind of stupid at this point?
Yeah, I mean, they're the only company and service in the world that charge you to play free-to-play games. Only one. And the fans have been crying out for how long now? So why? Like, what? Honestly, I want to know. Why do you think Microsoft? I guess I know, but I want to hear your. Why do you think they keep it money? But there's multiple variables here that I don't think it's smart on Microsoft's behalf to say, well, we got to keep charging because there's other ways they make money if they weren't charging. So they get a cut of every microtransaction on the network. If there are that many more people playing their games, these free-to-play games, that aren't having to pay for live, they're probably going to put some more money statistically into that free-to-play game. More people playing it, you're probably going to make a little bit more off of those microtransactions, right? Microsoft get a cut of every single one of those little microtransactions. They can make some of that money back, and we don't really know how many people are playing on those games that wouldn't have live if they didn't have to. You know what I'm saying? There's not enough definitive information out there to say, oh, we're going to lose X amount of millions if we don't do this. And I know it doesn't affect some of you, and some of you don't care because of that, but it's more the principle to matter. The competition gets a leg up on them, and it doesn't do anything positive for you either, you know, even if you're a gold member.
Well, it's weird because if you look at it, Sony forced Microsoft's hands when it came to the whole games with gold, because Sony was the first one to give away the free games. And I knew Microsoft would follow suit on that because they saw there was way too much value for gamers by buying Plus. And of course, Sony had to entice their customer because on the PlayStation 3, they were giving you free online. So in order to get all those free guys to come over and pay for something, they couldn't just say, well, we're going to charge you now. Like, yeah, they could have, but that would have been just kind of like a big slap in the face. So they said, hey, we're going to give you some free games. And a lot of people didn't think twice. They're like, yeah, we're going to get some free games. And back then, too, remember PlayStation Plus, you got PlayStation 3 games, you got PSP games, you get a variety of games. Now it's, you know, it's just PS3 games or whatever, well, PS4 stuff now. But, you know, so they had to do something. And Microsoft followed suit shortly thereafter. And now Games with Gold has sort of become, I think, in many cases, more value because they actually give you 4 games. PlayStation is down to 2, theoretically speaking. So, but
the other 2 are Vita games, right? Didn't they used to give you 2 Vita games, and that's why it was 4, but now it's 2?
Yeah, because they took out the Vita and they've cut back a lot on the PS3. A lot of it now is either indie games or PS4 titles. So, I mean, kudos to both companies, you know, for being pro-consumer with this stuff. They do things a little bit differently. Some months Games at Gold is absolutely incredible. Some other months it's PlayStation Plus. They kind of go back and forth. I would say if I had to weigh one over the other, I'd say PlayStation Plus on average has been given better games. But we also saw that Microsoft was doing just well with that up until Game Pass, and then they basically liquefied and watered down Games at Gold. And that's understandable. I get it. Why are you going to give people your best stuff in Games at Gold when you're trying to convince people to subscribe for $10.99, $11.99, whatever it might be, right? So it makes friggin' sense. Most people don't care anyway, because honestly, like me, I've played most of those games. I beat most of those games. So like most of the months they come out, it's almost irrelevant. I'd say the only people these things apply to are people that are either late to the party, just buying a new console, or their families and people on a limited budget. Like those are the people that these things matter to most. The rest of us, we've already played them. We're already gone past, right? But I definitely agree with you guys. They got to get rid of that paywall. It's stupid at this point in time. All they got to do is just axe it. And then, like I said, the playing field is equal. And then people can say, well, you know, now we can play on whatever we want and there's no charge. But yeah, I don't know. But anyway, let's get back to the topic again. Unless you have another point on that, Axel.
I don't. No, you said it all.
Okay, so Warzone. Who has played this DLC game mode today, and what do you think of it? I'll start with you, Axel. Did you play it?
No. As great as I am at Gears of War, Apex Legends, and even PUBG, I am atrocious at Call of Duty. I don't know. I just can't get into the Call of Duty games. They're just not for me.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, if you're not good at Call of Duty, this is not going to change your mind. It's still Call of Duty at heart, just bigger levels. Again, you start with minimal weapons. You pick stuff up. You try to survive. Pretty simple, basic concept.
No, Call of Duty is like an extreme Twitch shooter. And maybe it's just because, you know, I work a lot now that I just don't have the reaction time down. I always get killed. I just don't do well.
Let's give a shout out to the chat because we got everybody's Mr. Banhammer himself is here. Yes, he is known as the most prominent moderator in podcasting. We got to give a shout out to Lethal Papa, who's graced us with his presence. Obi-Wan is here. We also got Ace Junkie Media in the house as well, guys. What's happening? Thanks for joining us on the program. Dealer, how about you, man? Have you tried Warzone? Do you intend on playing it? What's your take?
That came out today, right?
Yes, sir.
I've literally been busy all the way up until about an hour until the show, and then I had to get topics together. So I ain't even got a chance to do anything today. I'm looking forward to getting off here and playing Ori here soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I may give it a download. I did enjoy, and this is from the same developers as the newest Modern Warfare, correct?
Yes.
I mean, I really enjoyed that Call of Duty campaign. Got me back into Call of Duty. I'm willing to actually look at the next one now. And then I went back and played Infinite Warfare. I was told that was a great campaign. Infinite Warfare was one of the best campaigns, if not the best Call of Duty campaign and then the new Modern Warfare is really, really close. So I may go in and jump in and try it, but I'm not sure right now. I'm kind of looking at Ori and Doom, but hey, it's free. Why not? Give it a download.
Totally. They start you with the practice mode, then you jump into the main game, and they have two modes. They have one called Plunder, and they have the Warzone. So Warzone's your typical battle royale. Plunder is similar, but Plunder is kind of you're going out and you're trying to find money, and I guess the team who can sort of get the most money. So it's a little. I didn't get a chance to try that one. Heard it's pretty cool. I'll get back, but I did try Warzone. I mean, it's Call of Duty through and through. They don't throw any surprises yet. I did like one little cool little thing that I've never played before, and that is when you get eliminated, they basically capture you. They say you're captured, and they put you in the gulag showers, and then you go in a one-on-one versus, I don't know if it's like random dude you go one-on-one with, and if you kill that other dude first, you get to respawn back into the map, which is kind of cool.
Wow, that is a different take. That is interesting.
Now, is it like a hand-to-hand, or do you go shoot each other?
You get each of you gets a pistol and your gloves and just fists, and you're in the gulag showers. Obviously, a very small map, and they only give you a limited time. To give you like 30 seconds or something like that. You either kill the guy or you go and capture the flag in the middle, and if you win, you get spawned back in.
And that's all like after you die in the main game, right?
That's right. So
that's
you have
really
one
cool.
chance. You have one chance, and then once that's done, once you die again or you get eliminated the second time, then you are finished unless one of your teams gets to a checkpoint and they can buy you back in because you're collecting cash on the map, and you can purchase your buddy to come back in. Which is also kind of neat, which I think they kind of borrowed from Apex Legends. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Apex, but in Apex, if you die, you're like in this canister or something, and the guys can go over and unlock it, and then you can spawn back in. But I like that one-on-one aesthetic. I thought that was kind of neat. I enjoyed that, actually. I thought it was kind of a cool way to bring you back into the game, so to speak. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, if you're into Battle Royale, I think you'll like it. And you like Call of Duty especially, but if you're not a fan of those game types, which I personally I'm not, I still can't really get into it. I'm just not really cool on that. Then it's not going to change your mind. I mean, if I was stuck playing a battle royale, it probably would be this one. But outside of that, it's not really for me. But the fact is, again, it is free to download, so you don't even need the main game, guys. You can just go download it. It is a hefty download. I think basically, if you have the game already, it's 17 point something gigabytes. And if you don't have the game, I think they said online it's something like almost nearly 100 gigs.
What the wow? So you're basically downloading the whole game.
You gotta be, because I can't understand how it was 17 for me and 100 for someone who doesn't have the game. That's asinine. So you must be downloading the whole game in order to get this, but then you're only limited to that mode. So
I have a question, Dealer. Do you have a preferred battle royale game?
None.
No.
I prefer not to play Battle Royale.
Everybody boo this man.
There you go.
It ain't going nowhere. Like, we all know that mode's here to stay, but
man, I'm not gonna lie, I got hyped for PUBG, and when I played that fucking piece of trash, I was like, yeah, I'm done with this. That game is as clunky. Honest to God, that's like having sex with Frankenstein's monster. It's just I don't know. Like everything is fucking cumbersome in that stupid game. Like, and it was broken for so freaking long. Now it actually half decent, but like I'm so done with it. I know some people love it. God bless you, Spider-Man in the chat. He loves PUBG. I just can't get into it. Plus, I can never seem to find anybody to freaking play the damn thing. So like that's one thing about battle royales too. If you can find a decent team to play with, you might enjoy it. If you don't, it's kind of up shit's creek without a paddle. Jago Kukin is in the house. Draven Air was here, and Ace Junkie drops $2 in the super chat. He says, "Do you think that the Lockhart could be a handheld?" Anybody want to tackle that question?
It is not a handheld. It's a console, and it's 4 teraflop Navi.
That's right. Microsoft's done with handhelds, man. It is called xCloud at this point. You buy a thing for your phone. There you go. You connect your controller.
I mean, you got a handheld. Everyone, there's billions of handhelds out there. By the strategy they're taking, they're like, fuck making the hardware and going through that trouble. You have a cell phone, and we're working on latency on our end. And if it gets slow enough, you'll kind of acclimate to that extra latency and enjoy gaming on any cell phone or tablet, any 4G device. It's genius, really. But they're not really interested in making a dedicated handheld platform or even a hybrid. They're definitely going the home console route with the other one.
Totally agree with you, man. Why would you spend all that money in R&D to develop a handheld when everybody's already technically got one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Billions of people around the world have access to a phone. And I would say at this point, probably about 70% of them are probably at least somewhat game ready. Like they're, most of the phones, if you got a relatively new one, are pretty decent by most standards and can probably run at least, well, again, the hardware doesn't have the push it. That's on the xCloud side, but there still might be some litigations, but yeah. But hopefully most people can play it. I'm actually excited for it. It's actually xCloud, I got to say, that might convince me to finally jump into Game Pass. Because I'm thinking, like, obviously, I'm not going to have local storage. Sorry?
They're going to bundle the two.
Yeah, well, they announced it back in, when was it E3 last year that they announced that they were going to bundle it?
They didn't officially announce that they're going to make xCloud part of Game Pass, but they did talk about some basically deals they're working on. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty common sense. They're probably going to make it part of Game Pass Ultimate.
I think so.
And then it would make sense for me because honestly, because you don't have local storage, right? So you're going to be relying on that, the servers, and then you can have access to hundreds of games and playing wherever you want. So when that sort of becomes the norm and we know that a lot of the kinks are worked out, I'll probably look at that then. And Finest is in the chat. What's going on? And Dreadpool has just dropped some super chat. He's got $2 in there. He says, my Samsung Galaxy 20 Ultra is my handheld console. Yeah, that's a nice phone, apparently.
Wow, that's an expensive phone.
Fiber Gunners is new for starting to see the light. Well, eventually, you know what? When your asshole is open wide enough, light will shine from it, right?
It's already lubed up, too. It's new.
It's lubed up already. I've heard the digital comments over the years, yeah. The new phonomics. Oh, yeah. You probably heard already, dealer. I got rid of my PlayStation stuff.
Again? Shit.
Gone, baby. PS4 gone, PSVR gone. I don't just wasn't playing it. Don't really care. I mean,
Last of Us is next month.
Yeah, never mind.
Oh my god, that and Ghost of Tsushima, which looks fucking badass.
I know.
All right, well, hey, stay strong.
Yeah, I got rid of it.
Finally get games 500 years later on the PlayStation, and I finally dusted mine off. Like, let me update this bitch. It takes 500 years. And pre-ordered both of those games the other day, so yeah. I'm excited to have something to play on it.
Yeah, Ghost definitely looks really cool, to be honest. I don't know so much about Last of Us yet, but I'm sure it'll be a fine game. So, what's going on? Invader Gaming is here. Invader, what's happening, man?
Invader. Gotta get you on the show soon, buddy.
Absolutely.
Last time I tried, he said, no, go fuck yourself. I was like, okay.
That's right, Jago. You heard right, Jago. It's gone, baby. It is gone. Let's talk about the other big news today. And Dealer just alluded to it before we got into that topic. Ori and the Will of the Wisp goes live tonight, I do believe.
Yeah, in like an hour.
Yeah. So apparently, Metacritic is rolling in. Not that Metacritic is, like I said, I don't want to be sitting here and being one of those what you call
it's a good thing.
Floppy people.
It's a good thing.
But, yeah, it's scoring high, which is nice because theoretically and most often Xbox games have been scoring sort of below average or under expectation. This one looks like it may even be beyond expectation, scoring very high so far. I'm hearing nothing but good things. The video I've seen of it, it looks phenomenal. The art style is absolutely incredible. I've never played the originals. I'm not going to weigh in on this too much. I may have to pick up both of these games at some point.
What did you just say?
I never played the original.
You never played Ori?
It just never appealed to me. I don't know, man.
All right. Well, I mean.
And then as soon as I hear the word, people say, "Oh, this fucking game, it's hard. You're swearing at it all the time." I'm like, "Yeah, that's not a game for me." Sekiro nearly made me want to put my controllers in my television.
If you suck at games, then you might say that. But I thought Ori was amazing. It was challenging, but it wasn't like it wasn't Cuphead hard. Games, it wasn't Cuphead hard. It was
a shot at everybody.
Jago, you might be right, man. I might have another PS4 next month. You never know, bro. But it's all good.
They're dirt cheap, man. You can find one anywhere.
There you go. Well, at this point, almost as well to wait for a PS5, isn't it?
You're right.
That's right. Backwards compatible.
Now go PC when all them PlayStation games go to PC.
That's right.
Hey, I want to touch on that topic later too. But let's Axel, how about Ori, man? Are you excited for this game?
Oh, man, I am so excited. I've been waiting for this game since it was announced. I ordered the collector's edition. I'm gonna go pick it up tomorrow, and I have purposely refused to see any gameplay of it because I don't want anybody to take away from the charm that this game has for me. Because if it's anything like the first one, which I'm hearing it is better, I know it's just going to be amazing. I'm a big music influenced kind of guy. If the music is great, I'll remember your game. If the music sucks, I'll probably forget about it.
Right.
And the music in Ori has stuck with me for the past 5 years. So I know that the music in Ori 2 is going to be amazing. The visuals are going to be great. And the gameplay is going to be tight like it always has been. And I just can't wait to see what's new, what's not new, what got taken away with Ori, and where the story goes. And the way what I'm most intrigued about is the story, because Moon Studios told the story without talking, basically. They told the story through audio cues and visual cues.
They had a mime up at the corner.
Yeah. And it was incredible to play that game. And you're missing out, Noof. You're missing out if you haven't played the original Ori, but forget that one. That's old news. Get the new one. I heard you don't even need to play that first one.
Don't believe him, Noof. It's all trash. It's on Xbox.
Out with the old, in with the new. Let's go.
Well, I can always play the first one on the Switch and take it on the go, right?
First one's on Game Pass, too.
Yeah, I don't have Game Pass yet, though.
You will. It's only $1, Noob. Come on.
It's only $1.
That's right. It's the same. It's the same price as your stripper. Come on.
Where do you think I'm getting my strippers from, bro?
$30.
Canada. Where else?
Canadian strippers. Yeah, the money's not good up here. That's like worth about 65 cents US.
Dreadpool. Fraud Nukem.
What's going on, Dread? Yeah, man. So it looks like I said, I can't speak on it because if I did play the first one, it'd be kind of unfair. But it does look really good. I can tell just from the videos and from people talking about the game, it's a passion project. Like, it's a game that you can tell that's Moon Studios. Is that correct? Moon? No.
Yep.
Moon Studios. You can tell that they blood, sweat, and tears. Like the hard work that you could tell paid off with Cuphead. I mean, those visuals, man. The attention to detail and the animation is just incredible. So. Dealer, weigh in on this one, bro.
Game looks great. I can't wait to see it on the LG OLED C9. It's gonna look insane. 4K HDR on the X. I'm really. I mean, it's one of those games that's kind of smaller. And shout out to Jago in the chat, by the way. But it's one of those games that's made by an indie team, but it is a Microsoft IP. And this team is unique in the way that they operate. A lot of them work from home, so they'll send builds of the game back and forth and kind of add their layer. And over the course of 5 years, this thing is looking like a damn masterpiece, despite some of its technical issues that have apparently been patched out. It's supposed to be a day one patch. But man, the game looks good. I agree with Axel. They do a lot of contextual storytelling and the music. Gareth Coker, who I know is up for the running for another big Microsoft game. He's in the running for some music on another big property Microsoft are working on.
Wow.
He, which I don't even think that's public knowledge, but he is. He's done a great job with the way they orchestrate and fill that music in, and it's been a highlight, even with the first one. So, I mean, again, it's a smaller title, but it's one of those smaller titles that's like one of the few that I'm like, man, I'm actually I'm looking forward to jumping into it, So, not necessarily the type of games I think Microsoft need more of, but it's definitely a great one, and hopefully everybody enjoys it. Again, it's on Game Pass for absolutely nothing aside from your subscription, or I think it's $39 or $29 if you want to buy it like I did.
Nice. Heavy in the chat. Heated Heavy 505. What's up, bro? He says, what's up? Should I sleep tonight or play Ori? I think everybody in the chat, including Cyber Gunders, already said, just go play Ori, man. Get it over with. You can sleep later. It'll be worth the while for sure. That collector's edition does look pretty sweet, man. Here's, I guess, my next take on the whole Ori thing. And this is where it constantly gets bombarded. The last one, same deal. Because technically this game, I suppose, is classified as an indie. Mm-hmm. Now, this game is, like I said, the original was phenomenal. This one looks to be even better. So where do you guys stand on this as an indie? Like, do you think that this game really gets sort of unfairly bashed because they go, it's good, but it's an indie. You know what I mean? So, like, what's your take on that, Axel?
It's Game Pass fodder, man. So the thing with indies nowadays, though, the indie development scene is really pushing the boundaries of gaming instead of before trying to catch up. A lot of these AAA developers, they get a success and they cash cow it like there's no tomorrow. they'll innovate here and there, which is great. And I love me the next AAA just as much as anybody. But if you remember when you're young, man, everything was new. Like you went from a 2-button Nintendo to a 3-button Sega to a 6-button Super Nintendo, and all those new inputs, right? Opened up the games. Opened up the games, right? Well, now we're stuck on I don't know how many buttons, 20 buttons, whatever. And so now you got to push the boundaries somewhere else. And I believe that indies are doing that. Indie guys are pushing the boundaries of games now. Whereas AAA, it's expensive to develop a AAA property and to take that risk of pushing a boundary. What if it doesn't pay off? You could sink a whole studio that way. And like I said, I just feel like the AAAs kind of rely on their cash cows a lot. The Activision Call of Duties every year, the NBA 2Ks every year. Right. Even like the Gears of Wars. To go on Microsoft's side, Gears is more Gears. It's great and it's phenomenal and it looks great, and they've changed up the gameplay a little bit, but really they didn't really push the boundaries the way indies do. So to me, when people try to trash talk indies, I don't buy into that, because as a gamer, if you don't enjoy some indies or you don't find joy in playing and discovering indies, you're kind of becoming one of those grumpy old men that's like, no, I only like my rice and tuna for dinner every night and nothing else.
Yeah, so I'll bring up a popular game here that was kind of also criticized because it was, I don't know if it was looked at as an indie or sort of a double A, but it was Hellblade, right? So the first game came out small team at Ninja Theory, put the game out, got scored critically, was loved by everybody. Well, until it went to Xbox, and then apparently it was like trash again, especially once Ninja Theory was bought out by Xbox. But like, where do you stand on a game like that then? Like, is that an indie? Because to me personally, I played it. I love that game so much. I bought it twice. I had it on PlayStation and on Xbox. Beat it twice. Loved it phenomenally. I love that game. To me, Hellblade was as good as most AAA stuff on huge budgets. It might have been a little short, but that's about the only shortcoming that personally I could find with the game. I loved it. Can't wait for Hellblade 2. So like I said, the lines between indie and sort of AAA and just great titles is sort of blurred these days, because there are games that really stand above and beyond. They stand on their own merits because they're so well done and they're so ahead of the curve. Like there's a lot, like if you look at Nintendo Switch, man, like now that's console is literally filled with indies, because every time I turn around, it's these games that look like they would cost you 99 cents on a freaking on a cell phone, right? Like to me, that's when I think of India, that's more where I think of indies is just this really quick, get it out the door kind of game, like these quick fix kind of games. So whereas the other games are kind of like AAA, just without the budget of the marketing. I don't even know if I had a question in there, but
I'll talk a little bit about Ninja Theory. Ninja Theory did great with making their game look AAA, but what they did was still risky. Taking on mental health is not an easy thing. It's risky. What if they got it wrong? What if they misrepresented it? They would have been bashed left and right. So, that's still risky. And it just so happened that they managed to put Psychosis into a game and have it translate well.
Yeah, so I don't think it was super risky. I think that the thing that was risky about Hellblade was its relatively large budget for the studio at the time, which was kind of struggling. So they say Hellblade 1 saved the studio is what they say. And it did have the production value of a AAA game, but was kind of hollow in a few other spots. I'm hoping Hellblade 2, which is likely a prequel, would maybe fill in some of that and make it a little bit more of a cohesive experience. But I mean, the first game on a $10 million budget, looks like it does. It looks really insane. I would say it was definitely an indie title. They're an independent team.
Yeah.
But it had the production values of a AAA game in terms of the visuals. And I think with very few mechanics, it ultimately came out to be some kind of AA. And they say they're trying to push towards more of a AAA with the new game. And they say their visuals will set the bar with visuals. I covered that in a job posting quite a while ago about this game. I didn't know what it was at the time, but yeah, I mean, Hellblade looks great. Ori is going to be great. There's some really cool indie games out there. I think a lot of the innovation is pushed there. It's a lot cheaper to do so. They can experiment without taking, $100 million loss or whatever. But when it comes down to it, when you get that same kind of innovation in something that's generally more polished, bigger AAA style game, which is rare, that's when you got, legendary status type shit. And that's like God of War. I love God of War. It didn't entirely innovate or reinvent anything, but it had the right amount of everything, and it was done in such a way that probably one of the best game ever made. If not for Witcher 3, which is right there for me. Games that do things that other games don't do, and they do it in a way that other games don't do it, with the right amount of production value, for me is the sweet spot. But there's plenty of room for games like Ori, which I would say is the king of indie games at this point. It's going to look, when you guys boot it up tonight, you're probably going to be blown the fuck away if you're playing on the X and you've got HDR, right? I can only imagine how great it's really going to look in person, but the production value is just so up there. The music, all of the pacing of the story elements and the character-driven stuff without, like you said, saying so much as a word. A very special group of people came together to make this, and I'm curious as to what they'll do next, honestly. But I'm very, very excited for this game, and we'll see. I guess we'll see if all those performance issues are hammered out in this patch.
Yeah, definitely. That's just all it comes down to with Ori is I really can't wait to play it. I know that they got rid of the little, the little fairy or whatever it was that was always on you to attack, and they did the attacking, and now you're gonna actually have weapons. I heard that on Rand Outdoors review.
Yeah, like it's got more RPG elements than it's ever had. You got all kinds of different weapons now. You can level each of those weapons up individually. You can do challenges to unlock.
Oh, what, for Hellblade 2?
For
Ori.
Oh, thank God, Jesus.
I mean, they definitely gone in more with the customization, the leveling up, and all that stuff to do all the different stuff you want to do and play style you want.
Because that, my friends, is one of the biggest reasons I love Hellblade more than most games of this generation, because they didn't fucking saturate the game with the bullshit that every game now seems to have. There was no leveling a weapon. There was no fucking stamina ass meters. There was no bullshit in the game. You played it for the story, you played it for the audio, you played it for the visual journey, and it was amazing. And I enjoyed it. And so many games now, they try to copy everything because they think that without these things in the game, nobody wants it or nobody will play it. And I don't think that's true. And that's what I loved about it. Like as much as I love the new God of War, what a departure that also was from the older games. And while I kind of liked it, there's parts I didn't like, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? I was kind of like, oh God, here we go. We got color-coded weapons again. Everybody's doing this shit now, like fucking purple items and blue items and gold items. And, and then you got to level it up to beat enemies. And I was like in the old God of War, there was no leveling. You got the cool fucking weapons and you went to town on people. That's what I love.
There was leveling in that game, wasn't there?
Well, yeah, it was a little.
I mean, you had to put souls and wasn't it?
Yeah,
I remember
but it was a little bit different. It wasn't quite as complex. It wasn't as RPG-esque. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
but anyway,
I didn't mind it, man. Like walking around as Kratos, finding better armor and gear, and not in a way that was grindy. You know what I'm saying? No. That's really the magic combination there was. Yeah. It wasn't like Destiny or I'm grinding for gear. It's more like, look, I just went into this area. I found a chest that he punches a hole through and he pulls out, perhaps some better armor, and you can decide to upgrade that or augment that if you want. I think it's important how it's done. I don't mind if it does what other games are doing. Forza, it drives just like every other racing game ever made, but it does it better. It's about how you do it, how you stack up against how other people are doing things, in my opinion. But I mean, I definitely hear you. There's a beauty in the simplicity of how things were done.
No, in God of War, like I said, exception to the rule. They did it very well. And you said the way their level design was and the way you leveled up, it wasn't like you purposely had to go around looking for shit. Spend half of your game just, I got to go in this corner to see what's over here. I got to go in this
corner. You got rewarded for your
here.
Exploration instead, right?
And you could feel the difference in the combat. It wasn't just more of a cosmetic aesthetic. You could literally feel the weight and the difference it made in combat once you did level up certain things. And it looked fucking cool. Like, you know, when you got some of these cool armor pieces, like, damn, man, he looks like a badass. And of course, even the kid, right, he got more powerful and you level up his bow. And that game was done well. Like, I'm not complaining on that game. I loved it. It was one of my favorite games ever. But I'm just saying, I get tired of that. But anyway, Ori's coming out, guys. If you love Ori, get it. If you never played it, maybe you should now because it looks phenomenal. Again, it's a game done right. And why hasn't Microsoft even bought these guys yet? It's kind of blows.
They don't want to be bought.
They don't want to be bought.
They want their independence.
Yeah, for now anyway. Yeah. Ted Price said the same thing, and then boom, Sony tweeted it out.
Everybody's got their price. Ted DiBiase's all over it.
Few back-to-back hits like that, they've proven that they can make a game, they can make a winner, and they can improve on the formula. So that's always a good thing. But, you know, like I said, never say never. But let's not beat this one to death. We got one more topic, basically, before we get out of here. And this was a one, as when Dealer jumped on the show tonight, we were talking about this one particular fanboy. He went crazy today. Well, we think anyway. It could have been all for show, but there are literally PlayStation fan, I'm not calling the fan, not the reasonable ones, but, you know, the eccentrics that are out there, and they're losing their freaking collective shit because a Sony first-party studio game, Horizon Zero Dawn, also a big award-winning game too, is now coming to PC. It was confirmed by Guerrilla Games today. So what many have said for months or speculated for months is now true. Dealer once again hands out a few L's. Because I'm sure you've talked about that in the past, too, Dealer. So
we've been saying it for years on RDX. Like, this is the way the industry's going. Horizon Zero Dawn didn't go to PC because it's old or because it's not making money. It's going to PC because it's the way things were always going to be. And I had a conversation with someone in particular at Microsoft today. Mm-hmm. And they say, yeah, eventually they're doing the exact same thing we are. They're just a few years behind. So, again, Sony definitely under the direction of Jim Ryan has already proven that they are doing all of the same shit. They are the ones who started the whole Game Pass trend with PlayStation Now, but Game Pass forced them through competition to let those things be downloadable. PlayStation Now did the streaming thing years ago. They just didn't do it correctly. Now they're signing deals with Microsoft and Azure to do it better. They'll put those PS5s in server racks. We know that. That's probably what's going to end up happening. They're going to do what xCloud did. And they're putting things on PC. And Horizon Zero Dawn is coming to PC this summer on Steam. And that also meets Death Stranding this summer on Steam. Right. And that's two. And that's not the only two. They published games on PC last year. Before this, all of their games like Detroit Become Human, all that shit, PC. Dreams. Quantic Dream. I mean, though they may not own some of the teams who bring this stuff to PC, they do own a lot of the IP that come to PC. This is the direction they're going to go. And they want to reach out and get access to more people through not only streaming, but they do want their games on PC for that extra couple 100 million user base. People say, well, look what exclusives did with their console. Look what it did for them. 100 million sold. Well, did it do more than an extra 500 million install base that have access to their game? No, it ain't going to do more. Not in terms of profits. So when it comes down to it, everything's kind of going everywhere. They'll actually retain their games like Microsoft are, and their games won't come to Xbox. Microsoft games, like Matt Booty and all these guys have already clarified. Aaron Greenberg's already clarified. They're big games like Halo and Forza. Anything they got any kind of real money in, they're not going to let that go to PlayStation. Meanwhile, things that are already kind of on PlayStation, like Minecraft and stuff like that, they'll let that continue to go to PlayStation. But again, things like Outer World, the IP, all that stuff, exclusive going forward, not really for the console's sake, but for the service and the ecosystem. They want you to get Game Pass. So, all that stuff, people say Game Pass killing the industry. It's quite literally one of the biggest reasons you have exclusives right now to the ecosystem.
Yeah, no, if Microsoft was to take Minecraft off the Switch and off the PlayStation, it'd be pretty much like a hooker in the middle of her show, and she's not the hooker, but stripper, and getting all sorts of cash put down her shorts, and then someone telling her to put her clothes back on. Would make sense, right? No, it's
a hairy nipples.
It's a it's a cash cow, man. It's a cash cow. We all know, man, and you got to be an idiot. Like, console sales are great. We all know that. Sure, it means your user base is higher. It means there's a better chance your game is going to find more success. But by
the way, Noof, the same source who basically let it out to begin with, because I'm talking to Rand Ground Zero on this, right? The same source who let it out there that it was coming to PC, and then we all tweeted. I don't know if you remember, but I tweeted a month or two back when we first found out it was coming to PC. I said, "Hey, find those freaking out about Horizon Zero Dawn on PC and screenshot it." And I just put eyeball emoji, and I didn't say anything else. There's a reason I said that, because I knew 100% it was happening. And not the same source says that's just the beginning. They're bringing a ton of games to PC.
Oh, I believe you. I don't think they're going to stop. This is a testing the waters phase. This is just an entry level, and what a better game. High profile game that people know and love. It's a great way to, like I said, test the waters, get in there, see how it sells, go so on and so forth. It's not rocket science. Sony's selling consoles, but the consoles themselves are not making Sony money. And PlayStation fans have proven themselves that they can have the 100 million consoles sold, but even their best games, even the ones like Spider-Man, are still struggling to get, like, say, a 30% sell through. Like, 10, 12 million is great. That's nothing to sneeze at. But I mean, you think with 100 million copies or 100 million consoles sold, that a game like Spider-Man could easily do 35 million right from the hop. You'd think.
But on PC and every platform, it would have done that pretty easily.
Easy.
It will, exactly. And that's how publishers look at. They don't look at, okay, well, one console does sell, 7 million, the other one does 2.5. At the end of the day, that's still, that's 9.5 million copies. And it's better to have more copies because that's more money in your pocket, as long as the development costs to, what do you call it, to bring the game over or to recode it a little bit for the other console is easy enough, then it's money in the bank. Now, when publishers got to do it for Switch, I totally get their frustration, because fuck, man, how are you supposed to make like these fucking games being built on consoles that are 10 times more powerful than the Switch, and you're still trying to get this fucking thing to run on handheld hardware? Like, I'm still blown away that they get a game like The Witcher, or they get a game like Doom to even run even relatively well.
At a rock solid 23 frames per second, lower than low PC settings at 480i. It might be a little easier than you think,
Maximum effort.
But that's got to be frustrating for any of the dev when they go, oh, well, they want us to port this thing over, and the guy's like, well, that's like trying to take a Hemi engine out of a freaking Dodge Ram and stick it in a Volkswagen Beetle. You know what I mean? Like, it just ain't happening. Right? There's going to be cuts. Anyway, I'm getting off the topic again. Ask, how about yourself, man? Like, what do you think of it all? What do you think it means for the industry, for Sony, for its fans, that the games are going over to PC?
For Sony, this is a good thing. 106 million consoles is great, but we're at console market saturation, right? 106 million PS4s, the most successful. But that's about where your customers are. Mm-hmm. And there's billions of people on this planet that can play games, and you want to get games in their hands. And so, you got to go where your customers are. And so it makes sense that they're putting it on PC, and for everybody, this is a good thing. It's good for Sony. It's good for us. I personally, I buy my PlayStation consoles a generation back. I always get them used because, well, they sell so many. They're easily available, right? Mm-hmm. At good prices. And so, Horizon Zero Dawn is one of those games that's on my to-buy list for PS4. Now that it's coming to PC before the end of the generation, or so close to the generation price, what's really going to sell it for me is, well, is it cheaper on PC, or will it be cheaper if I buy a used copy? And that's really what's gonna drive it for me, personally. But I don't see anything wrong with it. I hope they optimize it well. That's kind of my only thing. I hope Sony doesn't put this on PC and it's a glitchy, buggy, frame-ridden mess. I hope not. I really hope that it's optimized well. You can put your frames up. You can set the high settings, and that the Decima engine that it runs on, that I've heard so much about, that I've seen on YouTube videos, just blows my mind on my gaming rig. And that's really my hope for it. And I can't wait to get my hands on it. Like I said, it's definitely one of those games that's been on my list to get.
That's funny. Yeah, Dealer popped out for a second. He's back now, but he sent me a DM. He sent me an image, custom Volkswagen Bug with a Hemi V8 engine. Swap me both.
But there's a will, there's a way, Noof. Where there's a will, there's a way.
I want to see that thing on the track. Holy hell, wheels will come off. Man, oh man, oh man. That's funny, Dealer. Funny, very shit. That's.
I don't think that was me.
What? Hang on. Hang on. It's Dreadpool. Dreadpool. They both start with D. There he goes. Dreadpool.
With Nick Nukem.
You popped out there for a second. That was Dreadpool sent me that. That was pretty funny, Dread. Yeah, but there you go. There's Will's away. People will try to put anything in anything. Yeah, it's kind of how the coronavirus started. I'm pretty sure.
Let's
just eat
pretty sure it started from a Subway sandwich. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, if you're checking us out, hit that like button, share this on Twitter, and subscribe here.
Yeah, I greatly appreciate it, guys. And again, a big thanks go to my guest tonight for doing this last minute. Primal was supposed to be here, and she got a flat tire. As I said, it's the only time in Primal's life where she's ever going to be flat. So, Mr. Kima, what's going
she's
on?
probably listening to this.
She might be if she's home by now. Obviously, she never got to show up. But thanks again, guys, for coming in. Jason Ellis, what's going on, man? Doom 3 blew my mind. Alex Basher's here. Did I miss anyone tonight? Hopefully, I try to keep up with my chat as much as I can. Very hard on the show like Dealers. So when he's got
I try, man.
1,300 people on average coming up, man. Great job, by the way, Dealer. Congratulations, man. You guys have been diligent. You've been working hard, and it's great to see your podcast is very successful. But I'll let you talk about more of that before we head out here. But anyway, guys, like I said, it's you don't have to beat it horse to death. Horizon Zero Dawn is a good thing for gamers in general. Look, people that are PlayStation guys, they're gonna have the game. They would have bought it day one. They play it and beat it on PS4. I know I did. It was my favorite game of 2017. Some people call it Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah, it had some problems, but you know what? They were minor. The game played well. It looked well. It was kind of original, great character, some cool story, definitely some really wicked enemies and ways to defeat them. I loved it, and the sequel will be honestly welcome. Yeah.
Between us, man, days like today, I love on Twitter. The meltdown days are my favorite days on Twitter.
He's crying.
He cried.
So yeah, good stuff. Good for gamers. Let's see here. Well, we can't end before we get one question because we have Primal always leaves me with a question of the night. This one's pretty decent. Most of the time they tend to be kind of on the naughty nature. So her question, Primal Eve's question of the evening is underrated and overrated. What is the most to you? It can be anything. So basically she's saying movie, game, et cetera. So does anything stick out in someone's mind that is highly overrated or underrated? Maybe one from each category, if you can think of something. Then I'll go with you on this one, Axel.
Oh man, I got a list. Let me think. Underrated, overrated. I feel that complete package games are underrated, and what I mean by that is games that are good single player, are good co-op, and have amazing multiplayer. To me, this is a total package game. You know, a game like Halo, a game like Gears. These are the kind of games I live for. Mm-hmm. And you know, today the industry is really focused on these character-driven story narratives, which they are great. But I feel that the complete package style games are heavily underrated and are criticized for things that are great. You know, it's great to be able to play a game by yourself. It's great to be able to play it with your friends if you choose. And it's great to have a good multiplayer, especially a PvE element, a good PvE. You know, you and a bunch of friends versus the computer, and I'm going to go right back to Gears because this is the biggest example. I think Gears 5 was heavily underrated. It scored great. You know, it still scored good, but I feel that it was robbed of some points. Simply because, you know, that character building and story driven narrative wasn't as heavy as it is on other games. And going back to the other side, I think that story driven narrative, character driven narrative games are a bit overrated. And I fear for that because I almost fear you know, we're making playable movies more important than gameplay. And to me, gameplay will always be king. If the gameplay is not there, I don't care how much time I invested into this character. That character could die and I won't shed a tear. You know what I mean? So as long as the balance is there for some story-driven narratives, I think will be great. But if it starts to get out of hand with cutscenes and quick time events and God knows what else they put in there, no, it's not for me. I'm more into the complete package style games. They just offer more bang for the buck to me.
Good. Gotcha. Awesome answer. All right, let's head over and find out what Dealer would say was overrated or possibly underrated.
His microphone is underrated.
Sorry,
oh, sorry. Did you catch that?
Cat, man.
My microphone might have been turned down.
He's got a.
Hang on, I gotta figure this out here. Mine up or down? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hear you just fine.
My my cat, he's got a collar, right?
Yeah.
And when he eats, he bends down and the little name tag gets stuck in the fucking food bowl. I just hear sounds like someone's playing instruments behind me. It's a damn cat with a fucking food bowl stuck to his face, going backwards across the floor. So nice. That's what I just had to fix.
There you go. So is your cat overrated?
Yeah, he's a fucking idiot. Trying to hang himself on the food bowl. Overrated to me is honestly, I think Horizon Zero Dawn 1 is overrated. I think 89 meta is kind of crazy for that game, but to me, I thought it was a solid 8. Things like I would say Destiny's overrated, but Destiny actually didn't have a great meta score, and then Destiny 2 kind of picked it up. So I think Destiny 2 is definitely overrated. Underrated, Witcher 3 meta score could go up a few points. I'll just keep it simple since Axel went on a goddamn philosophical fucking book of an answer. I'm just going to keep it real short and simple and give you some direct things that I think could go up and down. And those are 2 things. So maybe get that Witcher 3 score up to like a 95 around where God of War is. And I'll keep it nice and simple.
Perfect. Let's give a shout out to the chat before we get out of here. Tryhard fan, what's happening, bro? Thanks for being here. I know you're late in, but that's okay. You can always catch us on the replay. Iceman LMH is here as well. What's going on, Ice? Glad you could be here, bro. By the way, Dealer, I don't know if you remember, but Axel is actually the guy we played Gears with that night.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay. Didn't know if it was ringing a bell or not, but yeah.
That was a hell of a party.
That was a good time. That was fun, man. They carried our asses through a few rounds there, that's for sure. Him and Others Inc. Yeah.
I gotta hear Dealer do his Others Inc. voice though.
Hello, I am Others Inc.
That was the best part.
I thought Others Inc. was like some Dutch guy, but no, it's just a regular ass dude. Hey, how you doing? Hi.
Jason Ellis in the chat, underrated. Sunset Overdrive, not a bad pick, I would say. I thought I got pretty good scores, but some people would say it wasn't as good. Some people say it's better. I'm going to keep mine real quick and simple here. Overrated, I'm going to say it's pretty much anything made by Hideo Kojima. It's pretty much overrated. Most of his games are complete cannon fodder. I'm sorry, but anybody that gives Death Stranding anything above 7, I think you're fucking delusional, honest to God.
Kojima's washed.
I mean, the graphics are great, and
you didn't like delivering stuff. I mean, come on.
Interesting, but my God, it's just, I'm sorry, there's just no way that game is game of the gen. If somebody says it's their favorite game this year, but game of the generation, give me a fucking break, man. Seriously, you haven't played too many freaking games if you're saying Death Stranding is your game of the generation. Holy fuck, man. Then you must like watching paint dry or something, or you're going out on a tightrope with a fucking hand grenade. I don't know. It was anyway, I played the game. I got to like chapter 3, whatever the fuck it was. I was like, enough of this shit. But anyway, anything by Hideo Kojima is pretty much overrated. Even those Metal Gear games, everybody talks about them, and they're not that fucking good either. Like, as far as I'm concerned, Splinter Cell wipes the floor with that fucking franchise. But anyway, I'm gonna take a lot of heat for these opinions. But the underrated games, I got a couple of them. Want to give these all variable. Rise, Son of Rome, definitely they could have scored higher. Thought the game was phenomenal. Definitely a ground setting game that still looks good and plays well today.
Well, it was a pretty good game, wasn't it?
Yeah. The Order 1886, another game that got slammed pretty hard, which other than being a bit short and having maybe a little bit of the quick time events was actually really good. Had a cool story, fantastic graphics. Was definitely a good starting point. So Rise 1886, I'd say Mad Max was another one. Highly a game that people passed over. I don't know why. Mad Max was phenomenal. It was a great game. Avalanche makes a lot of underrated software that people don't give enough credit. They're a pretty talented studio. And what's another one here? Probably Days Gone as well. I thought Days Gone probably deserved a lot more than 6s or 7s or whatever. It was kind of scoring an average. I thought that game was solid inside of some, like I said, obviously its first week or two was a bit glitchy, but the game was amazing. I think Jago would I would give that game a like definitely like an 8.2, maybe 8.5, stretching it. I never did beat it, so I don't want to go too high, but I did really enjoy it. I just never got through it all. I don't know, man. I probably played 15 hours into it, I suppose. I didn't feel like I was really getting anywhere.
Well, I mean, it's like that's kind of the game's one problem, really. I give it a 7.8. The meta's the 71, by the way.
Yeah.
The game just it's a 20-hour game that stretches out to be 50 hours. And you're probably getting to that point where, because there's a big part where it's just kind of like dead. And, I don't know. It's just, it doesn't need to be that long. But, I mean, I agree. It's definitely better than the meta.
Yeah. Tryhard said it was a very well made game, though. And I think he's referring to Dead Stranding. Well, what did they make well? That Norman Reedus couldn't walk 5 feet without shit tipping over? Pissing in the shower and stuff. I don't know, man. Like, whatever.
Tons of very well-made games that are boring.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I don't want to rag on it too much. Each your own. If you love it, man, more power to you. That's the whole beauty of gaming. I love Gears of War. I even love Gears of War 5, and some people fucking couldn't stand it. Well, I'm sorry you didn't like Kate, but I thought the game was well done. Yes, it should have been focused around JD but yeah.
There's no smoking though, Noof. It's been a 4-hour campaign. Remember all the different fear mongers for Gears before it came out?
They got rid of the gore,
unbelievable. But look at Gears 5. Look how many things they've done right compared to 4. I mean, like, the game was so much bigger. It was fleshed out, amazing graphics. I mean, 4K 60. Yeah, great characters, co-op. Even 3 players. That wasn't quite, what I was hoping for, but at least you could, get in there as Jack or whatever it was, or the fucking little droid.
I think it had the best character development of any of them. I think the open world sections were they really didn't take a lot of time because there wasn't a ton to do out there, but it was still cool. It gave you a little break and, a little bit of exploration in there. And I think that the story was better than any of the other Gears. You learned why, the Locust Queen was a human. You learned where the Locusts come from. It actually all made sense. And the development for the characters, I thought it had the most of any Gears. I think it really took the time, especially with the banter between the characters when you're exploring. I just thought it was the best in regards to character development story.
And when was the last time anybody, I mean, virtually anybody in the game industry in the last couple of years made a complete game like that you had your story, you had co-op, you had multiplayer, you had escape. Like, they have so much stuff in that game. Like, literally, if you're a Gears fan, you could sit down and play that game for practically an eternity. There's so much content. And other games get away with having one mode, and people are like, yeah! And I'm like that alone should have earned it a couple extra points, like something to love for everybody. But of course, it's the same old shit. Gears comes out, they improve on a bunch, then they change a few things that the old hardcore people fucking just can't wrap their heads around, and everybody bitches after about 2 weeks. This gun is shit, and this is shit, and that's shit.
The shotgun.
The fucking colored weapons for the millennials, and fucking all these characters, and blah, blah, blah. Like, man, go back and play some of the old Gears. The new ones, like, way smoother and much better in almost every aspect.
People are negative fucks too. It's just one of those things where you can't win, and there's a reason they're playing this one and not the old ones.
Yeah, totally.
Gears 5 is superior in every way, especially visually, man. Every time I load up that campaign in Gears, it's eye candy all the way through on those LG TVs.
It's awesome, man. Sorry about that, Tryhard. I guess he was referring to Doom 2016. He thought that game was overrated.
That is not overrated. Try hard, you fraud. A great game.
Try harder next time.
The G-Man in the chat, he says Gears 5 is the best in the series. What's up, G-Man? Glad you could be here, brother. Iceman said Resident Evil 2 remake was a bit underrated. Definitely a fantastic remake for sure.
It was a 92 meta or some shit.
How was that underrated?
I would say that was pretty well up there, I think, that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hip to wine now, G-Man. It's just constant every game. It's like, and then what they do is they try so hard to please the people that whine at the start, then they fuck everything else up the other way. You know what I mean? It's one of those give and take things, and just I don't know. It's kind of weird Because like I even said to Rod, and he actually liked one of my tweets. You can go back and check my timeline. I said to Rod something about when the game first come out. I said, "Thank you, Rod. You finally fixed the Lancer. The gun actually feels somewhat useful again." And I don't know, a couple of weeks later, I guess people must have bitched because they toned it the fuck back, and then it became a pea shooter again. And I was like, great.
I think it was popping heads too quick, is what it was.
Oh, I was like, come on, man. Like, well, if you're hitting someone in the head, it should fucking pop. If you're talented enough to get a headshot with a Lancer, then more power to you. But
shout out to Iceman in the chat. I mean, man, it's been a minute.
Iceman gear should have been game of the year.
All right. Well, anyway, guys, that is all of our topics for this evening. I want to thank our guests for being here, starting with Axel1324. Axel, again, thanks for coming in, brother. Where can people find you? And hopefully we'll have you back on one of our podcasts soon.
Yeah, thank you so much for the invite. Pleasure's all mine. You can find me on Xbox Live, Axel1324, Twitter, Axel1324. I don't have a YouTube channel or anything like that yet. I'm just a gamer that likes sharing his opinion. And yeah, thank you so much, Noof.
Anytime, brother. And this man, like I said, needs no outro like he needs no intro. You all know him. It is the amazing Dealer Gaming. Dealer, let people know what's happening, bro. Like I said, thank you for being here, especially considering I know you wrapped up over an hour and a half on RDX tonight. So I know you probably get a little fatigued with this stuff, but like I said, you brought the energy. You brought some great feedback and opinions, as you always do. Thanks for being here. Let people know where they can catch up with your show and all that good stuff, brother.
Yeah, man, it's no problem. My girl was working on some work, so I had a little bit of time, and yeah, it was good to be on here and do I think it's the first time we've done this show.
It is.
Last time we worked together, it was mixing it up with Noof, which I don't think you do anymore. But nope. Again, no, it was a good show, and at the end of the day, man, like, more games coming to more places is really not a bad thing. If you think it is, you're probably thinking through like a fanboy lens, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's a good thing for games like Horizon to come to PC. I'll actually buy it on PC now and give them 60 more bucks, right? Mm-hmm. So your favorite company gets more money and they invest more back into gaming. That's how it works.
Amen.
So again, looking forward to that. And if you don't like PC and you don't want to play X, Y, or Z, play it on the one you want to play it on. That's the thing about having flexibility and options. It's never a bad thing as long as the one you want is there, right? So
amen.
I'm a console guy. Continue to play on console. Blah, blah, blah. But
you're not allowed to have a preference in this gaming street, man. That's the way it is. If you're not, a neutral or fake neutral, or it's just stupid. People take this shit way too seriously. We all have preferences. Fuck, we all do. That's how life goes. You preference a car, preference a reference, or a restaurant. Everybody has preference. We all have our favorite sports teams. We cheer for them, win or lose. It's not much different with gaming. It's just you can do it and not be a toxic asset. That's the difference. You can
tell who's looking for attention or not when they do that too. So again, a little bit of common sense, and you can tell who the fuck is a cringy fuck looking for attention. I think too, people say, well, again, as I mentioned in the show, well, look what exclusives did for the console, 100 million. I'll tell you, it's not going to do as much as a $500 million or 500 million install base of Windows for gaming, which is what they basically calculate, their potential user base there for all their games. So get the game on Windows, and it's going to make so much more than any other kind of. That's why they're doing it. They've looked into the numbers. They know what the fuck they're doing. So again, thank you guys for checking this show out, though. Hit that like button, share it out, and subscribe. You can head over to my channel at Dealer Gaming on YouTube and check out the latest stuff and all that stuff. Should have a video Thursday. Hopefully, Microsoft revealing some stuff next week about the Series X, etc. So we'll be there to cover that as well. And shout out to all of you who were at RDX as well before this show. Thank you so much. Good show, Noof.
Yeah, that's fantastic, guys. Awesome of a show. Drew Zilm, guys, thanks for being here. Wilmy Hood, I don't know if he was here the whole night or he just came in late, but Wilmy, you're always appreciated here, brother. Thanks for dropping in, and we'll get you back on here soon, too. Wilmy's a great guy, guys. A fantastic community member. We got War, W-A-R, in the chat. What's going on, War? Thanks for being here, bro. Glad to see you again. Cybergunder, thanks, man, for the love. Everybody, again, I hope you enjoyed RDX tonight. As always, great show, and this was an awesome one as well. Again, thanks to our guests. I'm going to let them get out of here, and we'll see you guys all next week, same time, same place. Peace out, people. Have a great night, and keep it gaming, keep it real, have some fun. We'll do it later.
Bye.